everybody, welcome to Chair Yoga with Sam. Sending out particular greetings to my Live at Home students. Hope you're all well and practicing your chair yoga or managing to move and exercise in some way. So as I mentioned in the last video, the idea of today is to join in on what you want to join into. You don't need to push your body in a way that feels uncomfortable or too strong. So I advise you to listen to your body, and if anything does feel a bit too strong for you, then rather than pushing through any kind of pain barrier, just use this as an opportunity to rest and relax. If your doctor has advised that you avoid any type of exercise, please follow their instructions. So we're going to start the session with a short relaxation and tapping into the breath. And I'm going to take myself a little bit further back in the chair so that I'm supported by the back of the chair. All of my body at the joints are at right angles, so my hips are nice right angles here, my knees are nice right angles, as are my ankles, resting the hands on the lap, either with the palms down or with the palms up. And if you wish to do so, you could gently close the eyes or lower the gaze. So we begin by just noticing the breath, noticing how it's feeling in your body today. The breath is a good guide to how we're feeling emotionally. But we can change the breath and settle ourselves a little further. So once we have noticed how the breath is, maybe taking a couple of deeper breaths in and out through the nose. You might notice the belly expands on the in-breath and relax back towards the spine on the out-breath. Checking in with the shoulders, that they are relaxed down away from the ears. And giving the body just a little scan. If you do notice that there's parts of the body that feel tense or even uncomfortable, maybe you can imagine on each out-breath that you're sending some ease, some softness to that part of the body. We're going to start to blink the eyes open. Namaste. I'm going to come and sit a little bit further forward on the chair. And today I've used a block. I'm using a chair that means that my feet don't comfortably reach the ground, and that means that they're completely flat on the ground from toes right to heel. So if that's the case with what you're sitting on, that your feet don't comfortably come flat on the ground, that can make you feel a little ungrounded, a little unsettled. So I would advise that you put something under your feet, maybe a solid book or a block like I have, or a blanket, so that you have that really lovely connection. Sitting up nice and tall, let's roll the shoulders back and down. Having a nice long neck, feeling a sense of lift in the head. We're going to start to move the shoulders up towards the ears, a sense of tension, a sense of squeezing, and then when we breathe out, we're going to make a breathing out strongly with the mouth. We're going to do that 3 times. Tense up with the shoulders and as we lower. When we breathe out with the mouth in that lovely long sound, then we can get a real sense of release, a real sense of relaxation. So now we're going to roll the shoulders. We're going to keep the hands on the lap, so they maybe will slide up and down the lap as we move the shoulders. We're going to move the shoulders forward and up, round and down, moving the hands as we do so. Rolling, feeling a sense of where the movement is on both sides, what you're able to do. So don't push it into big circles if that feels too much. Pause for a moment, and we're going to come back. And this sensation will be different because it's pulling across the upper back. So if there's less movement when you're coming forward, then respect that and take the circles smaller. Lovely. And now we're going to bring the hands down to the side, and we're going to turn the palms to face upwards. As we breathe in, we're going to take the arms up halfway. And as we breathe out, turn the palms down and bring the arms down again. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathing in and open. Breathing out and lower. Turning around and lifting the arms, palms face up. Turning the palms back down and lower. Wonderful. Now we're going to bring the arms again up to halfway, and we're going to take our arms into cactus arms. As we breathe in, we're going to draw the elbows back, and as we breathe out, we're going to relax. It's a very small movement, but it's a slight back bend. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Relax. Breathing in and breathing out. Take the arms wide, palms come down with control, lower the hands. Lovely. We're going to now move to the neck, and we're going to do some releasing exercises with nodding the head, taking it to either side, and then I'm going to do a little experiment where we try to loosen up the fascia around this part of the body to see if we can get some more movement. So let's start by readjusting, relaxing shoulders back and down again, finding that lovely lift, finding the head like a lightness, like a balloon, almost floating upwards. Lovely. Breathing out, we let the head go down. And breathing in, we bring it back to centre. This can be a really nice movement to do with the eyes closed. Focusing in on sensation as we move. And now we're going to change the movement from side to side, but we're just going to do it one time. So again, relax the shoulders, checking in with the parts of the body that we need to relax and the parts of the body that we need to find lift. And we're going to take the head over to one side as far as is comfortable. Back to centre. And round to the other side. And back to centre again. So this time, what we're going to do before we turn the head from side to side, we're going to give the ears a little rub. We're loosening up fascia here, so we're going to give them a really good rub, give both sides a rub. If you've got earrings, work around them right up to the top and really finding some heat there. So the body is covered in a netting called fascia, and that's outside of the muscles. So if the fascia is tight, and it tightens every night, then it's hard for us to find some strong movement because it's already restricting us. So when we release the fascia, we bring ourselves a little bit more open to making wider, longer and more open movement. So let's have another little rub here, hopefully releasing the fascia that goes even around the ears and which is connecting with the neck. And let's see now if our head turns take us a bit further. We're going to come round to one side again, coming as far as feels comfortable, back to centre and round to the other side. Back to centre. One more time, breathing out as we move round to the side. In, breathing out, breathing in. Well done. Okay, we're now going to move into the side body, stretching through the side of our torso. So we're going to start by holding on to the side of the chair, Taking the other hand to the side and turning the palm to face outwards. Breathing in as we lift the arm up and over. And as we breathe out, we're going to draw the elbow back and down. We're going to do that in a flowing movement. Breathing in and breathing out. Trying to not come too far back, just keeping a nice upright position. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. Lower that arm and let it hold on to the other side of the chair and lift the arm up. First of all, we're breathing out to come over. Breathing in and breathing out. Bend the elbow, come around to a twist. Breathing in and out. Opening. And when we come into our side bend, try not to come too far forward, keeping the arm above the head. And round. And take the hands down. Lovely. I'm going to come and sit a little bit more forward on the chair, and I'm going to take the feet wide. So they're a bit wider than hip width if that feels comfortable. If that doesn't, keep it at hip width. But as they sit wide and the knees come at an angle, I'd like you to make sure that the feet come at the same angle as the knees. So checking in with the angle of the legs, and that the feet are at the same outward angle, so we've still got support. We're going to come onto the balls of our feet and then onto the heels. Balls of the feet and the heels. Lovely flow, releasing the ankles and also the feet, the toes, the joints within the feet and all the muscles. Our feet are usually in shoes that are doing all of the work for us, so we don't always get into the muscles in the feet. So it's really good to get them out of shoes when we're at home, even out of socks, and get some movement into them. Pause for a moment. We're going to turn the knees in and out. In and out. In and out. And pausing again. And I brought with me today a tennis ball, and this is quite useful for getting into the bottom of the feet, and you can use this either sitting or standing. You've got a bit more weight on it obviously if you're standing. So what we're trying to do is put the tennis ball underneath the foot and just give it a roll around the foot, and you can really feel yourself getting into all the muscles in the foot as we do so. So there's no real technique beyond pressing down and the pressure. You can get right into the toes here and find some separation, and trying with the other foot as well. So it's ideal to use a tennis ball. It's got good pressure for you to get into all the parts of the foot. Don't forget the toes, separating the toes. Well done. I'm going to put that to one side. Okay, so we're now going to move on to the legs. We're going to do that with some support. So again, I'm going to sit quite forward towards the front of my chair so that I can stretch my arms underneath my leg and hold on to the knee. And we're going to start with gently swinging the leg backwards and forwards. And I say gently and slowly because you can hear some crackles usually as we start to activate the knee joint. We're going to do it nice and gently, maybe not too high, not too far at first, and maybe coming up right at the end. I've got a nice little knee crack then. And pause for a moment, and then we're going to use the foot like a pendulum. So we're going to swing it very carefully with control from side to side. Releasing in this direction. And then the last one, we're going to actually circle the knee. So we're starting to work into the hip joint now. And we're taking the weight of the leg, but circling the knee, and thus circling the hip. Take it the other direction. Trying to keep a lovely long torso still, and then rest that leg. So let's try this on the other side. When we place the knee down, we're looking again for the knee facing forward, feet facing forward, back to hip width. So we take the leg with two hands underneath the back of the knee. And first of all, we're going to do gentle swings. So judge how much you want to move the leg. And you might take it a bit stronger as it starts to loosen up. And pause for a moment and start to swing the foot like a pendulum from side to side. Checking in with your torso every so often because it can start to slouch as we do this. We want to be sitting nice and tall. And then last of all, let's do some circles. So we're working not so much the knee, but the hip joint now. And back the other way. And then rest the foot down. Well done. We're going to go back up to the body and looking and focusing on this part of the body, moving our spine. So as I mentioned in the last video, cat-cow is probably the most effective way to get that really lovely movement in the spine, see what the spine is capable of, but also really exercising the muscles either side of the spine. So in cat-cow we join the breath again, and we tend to breathe out when we bring the shoulders forward and push the middle of the back, and breathe in as we open and come into a gentle back bend. If it seems too much to join in the breath and the movement, don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be that you're constantly focusing on coordinating the two. You'll get to that with time. So it's up to you whether you focus on just the movement or joining in the breath. So let's sit nice and tall. And we're going to start with an out breath and pushing the middle of the back towards the back of the chair. And breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. And let's see if we can take that further. You can either carry on as you are if that's enough, but we could start to open the arms as we breathe in and out. Breathing in and out. Breathing in, one more out. Well, so we're going to come to stand now, and we're going to stand behind the chair. The standing postures are useful for helping our balance, and they're also strengthening postures for our quads, for our upper legs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and stand. I'm actually going to stand to one side of the chair. If you just come to stand behind the chair, I'm just going to come and stand to one side so that you can see what my body's doing. So first of all, we're going to stand strong. You're going to stand holding onto the chair. So we have ourselves a nice mountain pose. And it'd be good to notice what your body's doing when you're standing tall, noticing if your bottom tends to stick out and your shoulders come back, which might put a little bit of pressure on your lower back. And sometimes we go in the other direction where our shoulders come forward and we've got a little bit of pressure along the upper back. So we're trying to find a nice middle ground so that we've got a gentle, natural S-curve on the spine. We're going to move from mountain pose to try and come up onto tiptoes, but it doesn't need to be very high and it doesn't need to be for very long. We're just going to come up onto the balls of our feet and lower. You can bring the feet all the way down, or you could hover over, which is a stronger movement. So we're going to move up and down, up and down. And pause for a moment, and then we're going to just lift the heel of one foot. So the knee's bent, as you can see. We're going to lower that heel and then raise the heel on the other side. So you can feel, as we make that movement, that the weight is going from one hip to the other. And if you want to make that movement stronger, you'll do it in a flow. So at some point, both heels are off the ground. I like to call this one prancing horse, because it feels like the horses when they're doing the dressage. Coming up elegantly, lowering, and then take both down. Beautiful. And now we're going to take the feet a little bit wider, have some softness in the knees, and step one foot back. And it doesn't need to be very far. So if this feels too far for you, if it feels too far when you first do it, then bring the foot forward a little bit to make it softer. They remain hip width apart so that we've got good balance, and we're going to hold on to the chair. And we're going to do 3 little press ups. Coming forward and back, forward and back. One more time. If you want to try to do a stronger pose in Warrior One, these are the Warrior One legs, you could try letting go with one hand and the other. Maybe even taking the hands behind you or above the head. Lower the hands down, take that foot forward. Let's try it on the other side. Again, we're often different with our tightness in our hips and also the tightness in our calf muscles and hamstrings on one side more than the other. So checking in how far is comfortable to come back. Have a bend in the front knee, trying to make sure that the knee doesn't come past the ankle. And let's do our press ups. It's a gentle movement, but you can feel it across the back of the leg. And you may feel that you could let go with one hand or the other. Take the arms behind. Maybe even take them above the head. Lowering the hands down. And if you're behind the chair, now come to the side of the chair. So you're wanting to be holding onto the back of the chair. So you're turning around so that you can be fully supported. We're going to try a balance. So what we're going to do to help us support our balance is keep the outside foot, the foot that's furthest away from the chair, on the ground and lifting the foot that's closest to the chair. So if we bring our hands onto our hips, we can give ourselves better balance already. Take the weight into the outside foot by bending the other leg. And then keeping the knees relatively together, just lift the foot. Just holding this for as long as you can, and we don't need to lift the foot fully high, it could just be hovering off the ground. To help balance, we can look at a point ahead of us. That can help our focus, help us to find some stillness. And some of you might feel even in a position to let go. If you immediately start to wobble when you let go, then just come back to the first position. Lower the foot. And then we're going to take that to the other side. So you can just turn around on your chair so that we've got the other foot on the inside now. So that's the foot we're going to lift. We're going to bring the weight into the outside leg, hands on hips, soften the knee. And keeping the knees roughly together, lifting the foot behind us. Again, if you find a spot to focus on, you might find some stillness, some control. And you may feel that your confidence increases enough to even let go of the chair. But what you can start by doing is just taking it off for a moment, just seeing if it lasts, and then placing it back. So it doesn't need to last for a long time. Bringing the foot down to the ground with control. And the last one we're going to do before we sit back down again is to come behind the chair again. And we're going to bend the knees and take the bottom back as if we were going to sit in a chair ourselves. So this is chair pose, and this could be done hovering over a chair. And the benefits when we're practicing this pose is that we are strengthening the muscles that lift us out of chairs. So this can be done taken from seated or down from standing. And again, you could maybe look at taking one hand off and even the other. It's a strong pose. You'll feel it in your quads, you'll feel it in your legs. You may feel it a little bit around your core too. And release. Okay, so we're going to come back to sit down. So So as in the last session, it's good to work with our coordination. When we came up to stand, we were working with strength and we were working with balance. And these are two elements that we need to work on to encourage us to feel confident when we're going out for a walk. And now we're looking at coordination, which is the other element that we need to feel nice and confident with when we're going walking. And we're going to take the arms nice and wide, and we're going to take the palms to face upwards. Make them into fists, and as if we were pulling and making cactus arms or muscle arms, as we do that we're going to lift a knee, and we're going to alternate which one we do. So we can breathe in, sit tall, breathe out, relax the shoulders, and then we're going to breathe steady as we pull in, lift a knee, and out, and the other knee, and out. Keep going, and if you find that you get a bit confused, then just stop and rest, and then join us again. And out. Keep going. Last one on the other side. And then we're going to see if we can maybe challenge ourselves to lift the whole leg. So if that seems too much, then carry on with your knee lifts, because that's working the same muscles. We take the arms wide, and this time the whole leg. Palms up as we pull the arms in. One more on each side. Well done, everybody. You might want to shake out your arms. They start to get to feel heavier and heavier the longer we keep them lifted. So I'm now moving slightly more towards the back of the chair. I've decided not to go into the back of the chair because I want to work my core, but if you feel that you want to go into the back of the chair just to have a little rest, that's absolutely fine. We're going to lift the legs and we're going to lift the hands. We're going to make a fist with our hands and we're going to start to circle them. And then we're going to circle the feet. And the other way. Lovely. Releasing the hands, releasing the wrists and the ankles. Pausing for a moment, keeping the feet raised, and we're going to go wide with the feet, wide with the fingers, and we're going to scrunch them. Wide and scrunch. Wide and scrunch. Wide and scrunch, and lower the arms. Before we completely lower the legs, let's point and flex, point and flex. One more time. And lower all the way down. Well done. Okay, one more exercise with the hands, turning the palms to face upwards. We're going to press the thumb against each finger. So each finger pad is going to be pressed quite hard, giving yourself some pressure. Moving along to the next. And finishing with the pinky and seeing if we can then go back. And up. And back. And rest. Well done. We're almost there to come to our relaxation. We're going to finish with a lovely, gentle, seated twist. So you can either take your hand to the opposite leg. If that already feels too much for you, keep the hand onto that leg and draw the other hand behind. So slightly stronger is to take the hand across. Or if you want to be a little bit more open, then keep it on the same knee and just take the other arm to the back of the chair, holding onto the back of the chair. You can take your head behind you, but it doesn't really change the twist. We can keep our head face forward. And keep your breathing steady. Keep the eyes open, draw the arm round, back onto the lap. And again, we can keep it either very gentle, where we draw one arm behind us, Or to make it a little bit stronger, take the hand to the opposite knee. But if you start to feel that that's pulling and it feels a little bit drawn and uncomfortable, then take the hand back to the first knee. So here, or more stronger, onto the opposite knee. And again with the head, it doesn't need to come round, only if you choose to do so. And release. As a little well done to you, a little self-congratulations, it's time for relaxation. So this is when we want to be comfortable in the chair. And if you've got a hard back chair like I have, it might be the time to get a cushion, to make sure that while you're leaning back you're comfortable but still sat upright. So come in towards the back of the chair, the bottom's at the back of the chair, and again checking in with our right angles, at our ankles, at our knees and at our hips. And then placing the hands on the lap, either with the palms down or up, whichever suits, whichever feels right for you. Either gently close the eyes or lower the gaze. Checking in again with the shoulders, that they're relaxed away from the ears, but that the spine is nice and long. Checking in with the breathing, noticing if there is any change in our breathing. Now we're at the end of our practice. And maybe even actively slowing the breathing down to settle the body into relaxation. I'd like you to imagine that your body is surrounded in light. And you can choose what this light is like. It could be bright or soft, cold or warm. And then I'd like you to picture the light begins to enter your body via your toes. And as it does so, it relaxes them. It moves up through the feet, relaxing the feet, the heels, the ankles, and starts to enter the lower legs, softening the calf muscles, relaxing the knees, into the upper legs, allowing them to be heavy. It moves up through the torso, softening the belly, releasing tension from the lower back. And it carries on travelling up to the chest area, the middle back and upper back, allowing tension to disappear, relaxing the shoulders and upper arms, the elbows and forearms, wrists, hands, fingers and thumbs. Travelling up through the neck, it begins to soften around the jawline, the jaws, the lips, cheeks, the muscles around and behind the eyes, smoothing the forehead, lightening thoughts. We begin to absorb and notice the sounds from outside the room. Maybe we can even notice gentle sound inside the room. And then moving closer, noticing the sound of our breathing, the beating of our heart. I'm going to start to sit a little taller in the chair. Start to blink the eyes open and allow the arms to come to either side of the chair. Turn the palms to face outwards. As we breathe in, let's open the arms up. As we breathe out, take the hands to the centre chest. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And bowing the head towards the hands. Thank you everybody for joining in. Om Shanti. Namaste.